In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the tropics, which still, for like the 7th day, it might even be more than that, in a row, we don't have any development expected, so no big updates there yet. Obviously, as we head into late August, early September, expectations are that this will pick up in a huge way. So let's just take a breather. Let's enjoy this little lull while we have it, because I think big things are on the way during this hurricane season. We're going to move on and we're going to talk about the upcoming pattern. There is a lot of big storms sweeping across the nation. A big cold front, another big thunderstorm event for the Northeast that we need to talk about. And then some big temperature swings. We have some cool downs moving in with warm-ups in between, and it's going to be a roller coaster. Perhaps days that are like 80 to 85, and then a couple days in the 90s, and then back down to 80. So it's going to be jumping all over the place. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but before we do, be sure to check out our other business, Prestige Weather, in the description and pinned comment down below. It's only $5 a month, and we do weekly consulting calls over there, early access to our seasonal and monthly forecasts, among other really cool features. Again, only $5 a month, so it's extremely affordable, and we're trying to add as much value over there for you guys as possible. So many of you have given great feedback, and I do appreciate all of you that have joined. Let's get into things, and again, we're going to just move straight past this because there's nothing to really see here. But as we take a look here at the upcoming pattern, we can see already by later today, on Sunday, August 13th, we have some thunderstorm activity in the Northeast. An area that has been very active, okay, over just, the entire summer, pretty much. It feels like this area has seen above average activity. We do kind of have this very intense jet doing something like this. So we see these thunderstorms spreading through a lot of the plains and Midwest here, kind of coming from the southwest up towards the northeast. And this is overall creating a very interesting situation. When you see this curve up, we do have a lot of warmth being surged into the storm itself, and then we have some cold air hitting it from the side. Definitely see this as being a very potent thunderstorm day for all of these areas here, just because of those temperature dynamics that I just showed you guys. So we will be watching for that, of course. By Monday here, we can see that this moves pretty far eastward. Still the upper Midwest, but we see a lot of the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley getting involved. We still have this curvature here that is leading towards, an amplified look, and overall going to be a little bit more concerning this way, just because of the nature of everything going on here. Let's just take this towards Tuesday here. And as you can see, so Tuesday the 15th, we can see this has finally reached the East Coast. A bit of a cold front situation, because we do see a lot of cold air moving in with it. 1006 here, which is going to be relatively weak as far as low pressure goes. But we do see a lot of thunderstorms along the southeast and mid-Atlantic here. Still some on the back end there for the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. So definitely multiple states getting impacted by this sweeping storm. And by Wednesday, this should be, for the most part, moved out. We do see some of the very coastal areas in the southeast still dealing with some of these thunderstorms as a result of that storm. But things have really quieted down the further north and further inland you go there. We do have a 985 millibar low pressure center here over areas in Canada. So very strong low pressure system there. Definitely going to be bringing some heavy impacts with it to south central Canada. And as you can see, also the upper Midwest here by Thursday in Great Lakes, that 994 here by this point. And what we see is something like this with the cold front, warm front here. So very classic storm. We see the warmth surging towards that low right there, as my thing is wanting to crash. So we're going to have to not draw here, but we can see that there is warmth surging that way. Cold pushing in behind that cold front, of course. And with that warm wind kind of moving to the north out ahead of those thunderstorms, and then the cold wind hitting it from the side, this all kind of leads me to believe that this is going to be a pretty intense severe weather situation, perhaps. And especially with how strong that low is as well, that's going to also amplify things. So definitely an impactful situation. We can see by Friday, this will be impacting the Northeast Friday, Saturday timeframe. So we will be watching for these thunderstorms in this area as well. Again, this has been a very active area, and it continues to be all the way through late this week. We did write a weekly discussion there in Prestige Weather, as we mentioned earlier, Prestige Weather, but we also do the weekly forecasts for every single region individually written within our community. And I personally wrote that Northeast one, and that's what we touched on. I mean, just the continued storminess through the next 7 days looks to be very intense, and it's going to bring flooding chances with it just as a result. Now, Sunday the 20th looking a little bit quieter. We do see some thunderstorms here through the Northwest, the Rockies, the Northern Plains, but Pretty quiet. A pretty quiet day on Sunday. By the time we reach Monday the 21st here, we do see a little bit of some action starting up here along the jet, so we will be watching for that as well. Your jet stream is doing something like this at this point, and you can see a lot of these following that. So they'll probably be moving pretty quickly from the northwest towards the southeast through the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Ohio Valley there. Let's keep going with this, and as you can see, by the time we reach Tuesday, we see a lot of the same. Some thunderstorms through the Rockies, and again, along that jet there in the northern plains. We do see some thunderstorm activity underneath here for Texas and Louisiana, and then a small area of thunderstorms over the Carolinas as well. But again, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, with low pressure systems and all, this looks to be a little bit of a quieter day as well, although we do see some areas seeing thunderstorms still. I think that this day looks a little bit less intense than what we were seeing earlier in the upcoming week, because this is actually 2 weeks from now. So definitely looking to get a little bit quieter, perhaps, in my opinion. But we do see at the last frame, we do see a low developing here over the Rockies, and this may try to follow the jet and be our next kind of intense storm system. So only time will tell. We do upload every single day, so be sure to tune in. Let's take a look at that total precipitation, and I mean, we see multiple storms moving straight through this area here. So you could definitely tell that we are dealing with an above average amount of precipitation as a result of these storms. So I'm going to just circle in a couple of different areas. We do see these monsoon activities are going to bring above average precipitation to those areas. Across the southeast, we see kind of consistent thunderstorms moving through this area. And then with these lows moving through in this area, it's also going to again lead towards above average activity for not only Canada, but also the northern portions of central and eastern United States. Anywhere in the whites is practically no precipitation. Your grays are 1/10 of an inch or less. Your greens are 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Blues are 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows are 1 inch to 2 inches. Reds are 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns are 5 to 10 there. And in general, we usually say the yellows and reds and above is going to be your above average precipitation. Anything below that is probably average. And then if you're below the greens, you're definitely looking at below average precipitation. So anywhere in the whites or grays is going to be probably below average precipitation over the next week. Now, as we take a look at this temperature pattern, we can see some cooler air moving in with this kind of first Arctic blast, and this one looks very intense. We've talked about this yesterday, but the greens are far below normal temperatures. We see this strong positive PNA here, so we see very strong positive temperature anomalies there, and this is what's kind of amplifying. It's forcing this cold air to move around it and forcing it down into the central United States and eventually the east. We see round number 2 by this weekend, so Friday, Saturday, but look at this. Warmth wants to replace it, and very promptly we see a negative PNA set up here, and this is going to encourage the opposite. It's going to encourage warmth to surge here in the east, and we see exactly that happening by early next week, so kind of like the 20th, 21st. And as we just play this through, we don't get a really clear picture of what the pattern after this looks like. This is a little bit messy. It is an ensemble model, so we're seeing 20 to 30 different models put together here, their mean average. So sometimes in the long range, you get a kind of weird look like this. I do not think this is what we're going to end up seeing. It's definitely possible, but I think it'll either be clearly cold on one side and clearly warm on the other, which is 9 times out of 10 what you're going to end up seeing. And we're not seeing that here. I definitely think that we're going to see this be a little bit different over the coming days when we're looking ahead. So be sure to tune in. Again, we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload, so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.